In this breakout room, bearing in mind you've come to find out more about the lower school, please feel free to unmute yourself and ask a question or put something in the chat. Right beside me, I have the wonderful Ibu Julia and the wonderful Ibu Pancha, who are here. And so they'll also be able to answer any questions if you have any, but they'll be monitoring. So please do feel free to just unmute yourself and ask a question, say hi. So I am Victoria. I'm the very lucky head of the lower school. So I do see those beautiful three and 4 year olds in the yoga shala doing their yoga, and I'm the very lucky person that is in charge of the children from 3 to 11. But I don't do this in isolation. I have the most incredible team of about 55 staff. I work alongside two incredible ladies called Ibu Krishna and Ibu Chandra, who are our national principals. And I also have a great team of international teachers and local Indonesian teachers that make up our primary school. And it was lovely to see that video myself, just to see the children speak about their passion projects or how they see Green School, but also to hear some of the teachers like Pat Michael and just hear them talk about our primary program. So we are two learning neighbourhoods. We have the early years neighbourhood, which consists of gecko, starlings, and kindy classes, and then we have our primary neighbourhood, which holds our grade 1 to 5. And yeah, please do ask a question if you've got a specific question about your child or your age group. But I'll just talk some more about the lower school. But if you've got any questions, just feel free to jump in. So we do place, obviously, we're in charge of the 3 to 11-year-olds, and Aristotle said, "Give me the child till they're 7 and I'll show you the man." And I do feel so passionate. I've been in education for 30 years, and I do feel very passionate about this this age group and how important it is to stay very connected to themselves. So we do place a huge amount of importance on their holistic well-being. And so we do focus on they every single child from 3 to 11 have weekly yoga sessions. They obviously also have PW, which is physical well-being, and we do mindfulness daily. The children have, I mean, just as a community, we have a gong that goes at 11 a.m. and 2 p.m. and we just all stop and just take a breath, take 3 breaths, 3 gongs, and the children obviously have this incredible campus to run around and play in and go down to the mud pit or the grasshopper valley, and so they're outside, their well-being is well taken care of. And we also have inquiry driven learning, so they study through real real projects, authentic real life problems that they might have to solve, whether that's creating a rabbit hutch for the rabbits or a chicken coop for the chickens, or just things that the community needs. And that culminates in a capstone project for our grade 5s, which they're currently doing right now. And they're all involved in their own unique project, and we use the community, so the teachers and the parents are their mentors. And yeah, they're they're racing up to their finale for graduation and the capstone projects, which are incredible to watch when you see these 10 and 11-year-olds standing up and doing their own TED talk really about their projects. So it's wonderful. I did speak just then about parents being mentors to our grade 5s, and something's going there. So we do have a very strong community, and the parents are often on site. You have the bridge where they can, it's a working space for them, and we have wonderful eateries around. But we do involve the parents. So we create stay and play or stop, drop and stop sessions, so that the parents are fully involved in what the children are doing and they see. So whether they come and plant some rice with grade 3, or whether they came and did some yoga with me, and or they played some East World games with grade 5. So the parents are very involved in what the children are doing, and the children have student-led conferences where they show the parents what they've been learning. We do have full cultural immersion in Bali. Bali is the most incredible place to live, and the Indonesian people are so warm and welcoming, and they help us understand their religions and their beliefs, and they share it so beautifully. And we've just been immersed in some of the greatest times, because we've had Oga Oga, we've just had Galungan, and that's happening right now, where all the penjors have come out on the streets, and the children made Oga Ogas, their own Oga Ogas, and we had our own parade. But we are regularly involved in new moon ceremonies and full moon ceremonies, and we learn about their beliefs and the way that they live their life, which is truly remarkable. They have a philosophy called the Trihita Karana, and we use that to teach Budaya cultures. And we use that. Trihita Karana is their connection to themselves, connection to nature, and correct connection to the spirit. And yeah, it's a full cultural immersion, and it's you know, as parents coming to this community, but also coming to Bali, you really do get immersed into this wonderful island. And yeah, so yeah, it's an incredible place. So on Tuesdays we have a morning spark. So this is how we use the community as well, and it's not just parents. Though parents have come and presented. This was the first morning spark that we did, which was John Hardy. He's the founder of Green School, and he came to show the children how to create out of bamboo. But we've had many speakers, whether they're looking after fireflies in the north of Bali, the conservation of those. So they've come to speak to us. We've had people that are that have a recycling plastic center. We've had so many different varieties of people to come and just spark the children's interests. And yes, you know, that everything feeds into their own passion projects that they do uh, in grade 5. Well, in each year group. We also have a Jalan Jalan program. Jalan Jalan translate as a walkabout, and so they experience learning out beyond the classroom, though that's almost like it's a daily activity anyway. But the students can perhaps find out something in the local community, whether they visit a local Indonesian school and they work out a project of how they can give to the students there. And as you can see, it's about teamwork, it's about project-based learning, and coming together and going and doing something. We also mix up the year groups, so perhaps grade 5 will go and do something with our little kindies, or our grade 9s will come and work with our geckos and they've just done some hydroponics and created a water playground. Grade 9 worked with the younger ones as well and created a water playground, and our grade 12s have worked with the grade 1s to enhance their play spaces. So you know, the community is very involved with across year groups, which I think is wonderful. And then we man to man, which translates, it's just building friendships. And again, that is when you see the older ones with the younger ones. So grade 4 created a project where they were teaching the grade 1s some physical well-being and some games. It was really wonderful to see. You saw sort of future teachers in the making when you saw the grade 4s in action. And yeah, obviously we're focusing on helping them to develop their leadership, or and we do have the I respect values, and we're constantly mentioning those: to have integrity, to be responsible, to have empathy, to do things sustainably. Peace is obviously around, and then we have equity, community, and trust. As I mentioned, the Budaya culture is happening all the time with cooking lessons. The children do learn Bahasa. We have in every grade we have Indonesian teachers and we have an international teacher. So it means that Bahasa is more immersive. It means that they're constantly being able to use the language, but they do also have Bahasa Indonesian lessons too. They learn to cook. We have some outdoor kitchens located around the campus. And as I mentioned, the children do come in traditional outfits to celebrate new moon or the full moon or other ceremonies like Saraswati Day that we had not so long ago. As I mentioned, the children do have yoga and well-being. As you can see, well, no, you can't see because my hair's back. Usually my hair's quite wild. And here, because I have very curly hair, but I do teach the children yoga. I am the head, but I feel like it's so important to connect with all the children weekly. So I do yoga every morning with the primary children, and then I do yoga with the 3, 4, 5, 6 year olds a little bit later, sort of more 11 o'clock, 11:30, just before their lunch. And yeah, it's wonderful to see how connected they are. They also mindfulness sessions. We have primary assemblies on Friday, and what I've noticed by this yoga is by teaching them yoga, not just the yoga poses, but just yoga in general, they are very comfortable with a microphone. They're very comfortable leading 300 people through some mindfulness themselves. I swap, they'll come and sit on the mat at the front and I'll go and sit on their mat and they'll lead the children through a visualization or a meditation or something. And that's one thing I've noticed, the confidence that the children have. And because of our classes as well, and the pitch to the left is in our Sankit, which is one of the areas where we all come together as a community. And bearing in mind we are outside, we often have to use a microphone for everybody to hear us. So the children are very, very comfortable and very happy with a microphone. So I just saw a question come up. Shall I just stop talking for a minute? Because I don't want to just like blah, 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 and not answer your questions. This is a moment where you can come online and ask me anything. So do you want to unmute yourself and just, I mean, obviously if 5 people unmuted themselves, it might, but does anyone want to ask a question, or would you like to tell me something that's in the chat?
So there's a
Oh,
question.
hello.
There's me, Julia.
Oh,
Okay. There's a question actually for Kelly Shanahan. The question is, for early years education, does it follow the same general terms as a primary school, but adjusted for their age, or it's a separate curriculum?
that was. I just need to read it because otherwise I'm getting it in my ear twice.
Oh, no.
Could you take your microphone off?
I could ask it. I'm the one who wrote the message.
Yeah, sorry, it's really, I'm getting it double in my ear, so it was really hard to hear.
Yeah, no worries. Hi.
Kelly. Hi, Kelly.
Hi. My question was for early years, like specifically Gecko and Starling, the young ones. Does it follow kind of the same general theme as the later classes, but adapted to their age, or do they kind of have their own curriculum? Like do they do Jalan, for example, or?
They do their own version of it, but obviously they're just younger, so their ability to so the sessions will be just shorter,
Yeah.
And so the grade 9s might come down and they'll work with the geckos, or the grade 12s will come and work on the hydroponics. So they still have that as a theme, but it's just they can't they can't join in the same way as the older children. So say it's from kindy upwards, because that to me is year 1 to year 6. So that is the primary curriculum, key stage 1 and key stage 2, whereas starlings and geckos are the early years. So they do get immersed into it, but just in a smaller scale.
Well, since I'm unmuted, I also had another question that I wrote in the chat. So for our daughter, it would be her first time like going to school, being away from parents. What's the transition adaptation period like for
Yeah.
that grade?
Yeah, good question. So we're in the jungle. Like I said, parents are on campus all day, every day if they want to be. And so when those transitions are, I mean, it all depends on your child. Your daughter, or you know your child and how they are going to be with the separation. And it's about setting them up to succeed. Some parents will stay for 10 minutes, 20 minutes initially, and then maybe the next day it'll be 15, and the next day it'll be 10, and the next day it'll be 5, until that child feels safe and comfortable. I don't, there are obviously moments when our young children, our 3 and 4 year olds, want mummy. So seeing sometimes if the children walk up to iHub and they see their mummy in the bridge, that's harder, because when you see your mummy, it's like, aren't I going home?
Yeah.
But the transition, so I'd say it's personalized. It's just personalized. There's no right or wrong, and there are no rules. Obviously, the quicker you can extricate yourself from the child, and they're happy, and they play and they're safe, and they feel comfortable, the better. Because you don't want that to you don't want to kind of create a habit of staying for too long. But every day I see Gecko's parents sitting in the classroom, playing for a few minutes, settling the children, and then off they go. And that's still happening now, and we're in April, aren't we? So we invite the parents to be part of the journey, and certainly, making sure that the children feel safe and happy and ready to start the day. So we communicate with parents if we feel that they need to be on campus at the beginning. So, hey, we've got your number. Can you just go to the bridge and stay for an hour, and then we'll let you know if you can go? Those sorts of things. Very adaptable and flexible.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other question? Much nicer unmuting and just chatting than me reading.
Hi, I'm Nosh. I had 2 questions as well.
Yeah.
I just wanted to understand regarding your mindfulness and yoga class, is that on a daily basis, or is it just 1 hour a week? And my second question was, if you could also tell me about the extracurricular activities that happen after school, whether they happen on a daily basis, or do they have to go to another school, or in green school, let's say from 2:30 to 4:30, there could be like swimming class or other classes. Thank you.
Okay, so the yoga class with me only does happen once a week, because obviously I have 300 children and I couldn't do more. I'd love to do more, but I can't do more. But mindfulness does happen in the classroom daily. So that, I see grade 1 doing their own mindfulness eating, or they do a mindfulness moment in the morning. So the teachers like I said, there's a gong at 11 and 2, but I also see mindfulness eating, mindfulness moments, and then they do have yoga with me once a week. So there's lots of that. In terms of the ASA, after school activities, there's a plethora of activities to join in. There's mud wrestling, there's dancing, there's marimba, there's various. That's what I love about the music here. The children learn gamelan, marimba, jegog, and so they have the opportunity to carry that on, or the ukulele. They have lots of different, they might play eco games, or they might do nature art, or so there's a huge heap, and it changes each term. And Ibu Dawi is incredible because she organizes all of that. I don't know how she does it because there are so many so many children and so many activities. And the children finish, so the early years children finish at 3 p.m. And there are a few ASAs for kindy. There aren't so many because really, after a day in the jungle, the children desperately need to just go home and perhaps swim or do something with their parents. And but from grades 1 to 5, there are many activities that they can do. We finish at 3:15, and then the ASAs start at 3:30 to 4:30. And the parents are on site. There's football clubs. There's coaching in the morning for certain clubs. There are football clubs. There's basketball, volleyball, obviously age related. So there are so many different activities to choose from.
Thank you very much. And my last question was, what is your class size? My daughter will be in grade 2. She'll turn 7 in August. So I'm assuming that would be grade 2. So what is the class size, and how many teachers for that particular class size?
Okay, so our limit is 24, but not all the classes are there. So some might be 14, or some might be 17, or some might be 20. In each class, there are 2 teachers, one local Indonesian teacher and one international. And in each grade, so we have a 2-form entry. So in each grade, there are 4 teachers. But like I said, I have a team of 55. And the reason why we have a team of 55 is because we have specialists. So we have specialists art. Probably if we carry on with a little bit of the slideshow, there might be some more information about that. I don't. But we have art specialists, art and culture studies. We have green studied, which is a huge part of our program. The children go and see that. So there are other teachers around, and we have our learning support team as well. So they come and support in the classroom.
Okay, thank you so much. And do you have one class per year, or so in grade 1, let's say, is there like A, B, C, or is there one class per grade, or does it depend on the numbers?
So it's two classes per grade. So we have one geckos class, one starlings class, and then the rest, 2 kindies, 2 1s, 2, 3, 4, 5. And like I said, there are 4 teachers in each one. Kindy actually have 6 teachers. The geckos ratio is about 1 to 4 adults to children, and starlings is about 1 to 5. So the ratios are really quite small for.
Thank you so much.
For teacher to children. As much
What
as I'm
is
very.
the average?
They're gone.
Sorry.
No,
Yeah. What is the average time that a child stays? Because you have a lot of international children, and do they stay their entire school time, or most of them visit just a year?
Well, that's one of those questions that is a variety of answers. Some people do come for a year. The family have decided to have a year sabbatical, and they come for an experience, and they fully immerse themselves, and they travel, and they just immerse themselves in the Balinese culture and the school, and they take every opportunity to just see things, do things, feel things, be things, and experience it all. And then they end up staying for 6 years. Because
Yeah,
they
exactly.
are so immersed in it. So I have families here that have been here for 6 years. They've gone from geckos, they're now in grade 3. And then I have some people that do come for a year. They sometimes stay for 2. They sometimes try and hold out for an extra semester, or an extra bit of time, because they've loved it so much. But obviously every family is different, and some people,
Yeah.
they come for the long term, and then something happens and people do have to go home for a variety of reasons, mainly family.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. One more question, because Bali is it's really beautiful. The nature is amazing, and the school looks amazing. Also the mud pool, but I do worry about the health issues in Bali, and there are lots of mosquitoes. They still diseases that kid to have. How's how's that? And also the food, Bali belly they call it.
Yep.
Yeah,
Okay,
can
so
you tell me something about that?
so I've been coming back and forth to Bali for 8 years, and I've been here for 2. I have not had dengue. I have, oh God, touched some lots of, luckily there's lots of wood around here. And I mean, Bali belly, I haven't really had, I haven't had it. Occasionally you might have an upset stomach or whatever, but I wouldn't say I've been particularly ill from anything here. Yes, you have to be careful with the water that you drink, and the food that you eat, and but the food is incredible. The places to eat are incredible, especially around here. Uh, Dengue obviously does exist, and I think this year I've perhaps had maybe six children or 6 families that have had dengue. So, it it's one of those things. Yes, you hear about it. I definitely hear about dengue and Bali belly, but you don't. It doesn't necessarily mean that will happen to you. Um, the same as being ill.
No, of
I
course,
get
but
it in England. So what I'm saying is, I've not. It's not been something that I've thought every day. Gosh, people are getting ill, or um, I'm just not finding that. I haven't found that.
well, I can imagine that there are a lot of mosquitoes around the school with the water and in the jungle.
Well, we do Mosquito Monday, so we teach the children about mosquitoes, and the children learn about making they might go round and make sure that there's no water on leaves and things like that. The school have an incredible mosquito program that they go round. So we have amazing groundsmen on site that go around with those, electric, and they just
Mm,
they'll do that in the morning in the classrooms before the children come in. I mean, I I'm a British
yeah.
person, and I used to think, gosh, I'm going to get eaten alive, uh, and I'm going to have bites all over my legs and whatever. And I don't even I rarely think in the morning I'm going to put mosquito lotion on. There are some days when I think, oh, I might just put some on, and then but I don't do it daily. It's not in my daily routine as sunscreen.
Yeah,
Sunscreen's
and the
different.
school is active in preventing.
Yeah, and every class has some lotion in their classrooms. So, and we teach the children about that. And, so yeah. Um, I have
All
not
right,
found
thank you.
personally, I've not found it a problem, and I thought I would, but I haven't. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, that's all I can just give my personal thing.
Okay, thank
Thank
you.
you.
All
Any
good.
other questions? We have about 2 minutes, so if you've got a question, ask. Otherwise, I'll quickly talk to you about my other passion, which is learning to read at school. So obviously, in the primary school, in the early years, you're wanting that foundation skills, and you're wanting that foundation still to be made. And we do place a huge importance on learning to read so that they can access the curriculum. So yeah, you don't just come to Bali and go to green school and learn passion projects and be out in nature. The children are learning to read. They are learning numeracy as well. We just try and do it through reading a book about snakes, and I mean, I read a book on snakes on Friday to grade twos. You just try and immerse them in what they're learning about. So we're wrapping up in 2 minutes. Punch has just put. Yes, so regenerative design. So it is about student-led inquiries. Let's just see if there's anything I've missed from the slides. Just making sure that the students have agency, how important it is for them to be involved in their own learning. So this is grade 5, and making sure that they all have the chance to thrive and learn in this wonderful place. And we do have a strong learning support team. If you go back to that slide. And we do have a lot of children who are learning English as a foreign language or as a second language. And so that is something that we place importance on, making sure that they have a lot of language support and confidence building. So it sounds like I'm nearly over and out. Thank you for joining me this morning. And I hope wherever you are in the world that you have a wonderful day or a wonderful sleep or a wonderful afternoon. And please do not hesitate to get in contact with Julia or myself, Victoria Homewood at, perhaps you'll put the email, or you can ask Pancha for my email. If you've got a question that you didn't feel was answered this morning, please do not hesitate to contact one of us, because we will be there to answer. Thank you very much. Over and out. Matur Suksama.